With devastating power and razor-sharp instincts, wild hogs have long been a real threat. Taking control of them takes more than just a gun. It takes iron will, true grit, and the ability to make split-second decisions under pressure. Today, we're taking you straight into the heart of the action, from wide open plains to the deepest, thickest woods. Will experience and determination be enough to win the day? The answer lies at the end of the hunt. Stick around, you won't want to miss a second. The fresh morning air and clear visibility across the green fields signal the perfect moment to hunt. From a high blind, I watch closely, tuned into every subtle movement in the quiet surroundings. A faint rustle in the brush catches my attention. I raise my rifle without hesitation, steady and focused, and take down the lead hog with a clean, precise shot. But my team is locked in and determined not to lose their trail. The tracks led Finn westward, out into the vast open grassland where there was no place to hide. Through his scope, the world narrowed instantly, locking onto a lone dark hole. Then came a cold, decisive pull of the trigger, bringing the escape to a sudden end. The chase for the final hog pushed the tension to its peak. It was midday, the sun blazing down like fire. The wild boar thrashed across the open field, and chasing it on foot felt almost hopeless. We had to bring in the ATV. The roar of the engine shattered the silence as we closed the distance on the fleeing beast. It darted like a black arrow, fast and desperate, but was eventually stopped by a fence that left it with nowhere to run. When the hunt on the open grasslands ended, we moved into the dense forests of Monterey County. The rugged terrain demanded a shift in strategy. GPS trackers were mounted on the hunting dogs, turning them into elite scouts that helped us track the prey from a distance. The GPS beeped, signaling the dog had cornered the beast in the dry southern woods. We jumped into the vehicle and rushed to the rendezvous point. From the lookout tower, my sharp eyes scanned the area. Before long, a section of the forest erupted with the sound of dry leaves crunching under frantic footsteps. A fierce wild hog came into view, right in my sights. Two decisive shots rang out, ending the beast's desperate escape and restoring order to the forest. The wild hog was nothing more than a man now, with no chance left to wreak havoc. Deeper into the late autumn forest where golden leaves rustled underfoot, we followed clear signs. Freshly torn up earth still damp with moisture proved the giant digger had just left. My instincts told me it was lurking nearby. Then suddenly, the beast burst out in a desperate bid to escape. But James' volley turned the escape into an irreversible end. Watching that, I couldn't help but wonder, faced with a frantic target like that, could anyone else handle it with James' calm precision and perfect shots? The shadows grew long, but my drive for one last victory before heading home wouldn't quit. When they were completely off guard, I locked onto the target and squeezed the trigger, putting an end to the hunt and closing a successful day of field. Every moment tested our courage, patience, and skill.
What?
The monstrous beasts are ravaging the crops, turning fertile land into a desolate mire and gravely threatening the native ecosystem. This is the moment for the hunters to step in, to save this land before it's too late. Do they have the courage to face these colossal creatures? Join us in the mystical swamp, where every step harbors danger and every moment is a breathless confrontation. Watch to the end to pick the hunt that impresses you most. As dawn broke, John's hunting team gathered in their familiar truck, heading to the Texas swamp. Upon arrival, the team moved into their pre-assigned positions. Leon and his comrades swiftly boarded the boat, embarking on their quest to track the monstrous beasts. Just 15 minutes in, a wild boar suddenly appeared right before them. Without hesitation, a gunshot rang out, neutralizing the threat in an instant. A precise, swift shot. A perfect start to the day's hunt. Leaving the boat and venturing deeper, they swiftly took cover in their positions. Mere minutes later, a wild boar suddenly charged out at the swamp's edge, landing squarely in the hunter's sights. Seizing the moment, a bullet was fired. In an instant, the beast collapsed to the ground, marking another triumph for the team. At another position, the hunter in hiding closely watched every movement around. Suddenly, a wild boar ambled out, oblivious to being in the crosshairs. Seizing the opportunity, rapid gunshots rang out, cutting off the beast's escape. A mere second's delay, and it could have wreaked havoc across the area. At the same moment, in a Turkish field, a thrilling chase unfolded between Finn and a colossal beast. Spotting the familiar silhouette from afar, he immediately sprang into action. As the beast turned its head, a decisive gunshot rang out. The creature collapsed to the ground, unable to resist further. A threat swiftly and precisely eliminated. At the edge of the rice field, as the hunter keenly observed every moment around, the prey suddenly burst out from within. Instantly, a gunshot rang out, cutting off its escape route. A split second slower, and the beast might have slipped away, but fortunately, it no longer had a chance to cause further destruction. At the neighboring field, Finn had taken up his blocking position. There it was, a wild boar charging at full speed from the distance, but it made a fatal mistake by veering toward Finn. He swiftly tracked the beast's movement, and then he pulled the trigger as it drew near. With just a single shot, the beast collapsed onto the grass. Another perfect triumph recorded for the team. Hunting wild boars not only protects crops, land, and agricultural economies, but also helps restore the balance between humans and nature. However, this activity must be tightly regulated to ensure sustainability and ethical wildlife conservation. Shadow of Death. Hunters confront wild boar in the dense forest. From rugged hillsides to dense shadowy forests, nothing can halt the advance of these fearless marksmen. Fierce battles, confronting danger to protect crops, land, and livestock from the devastation of wild beasts. The heart-pounding hunts that follow will keep you glued to the screen. Each shot left you stunned. Watch to the end, and don't forget to share your thoughts with us. At dawn, Nick's hunting team set out in their familiar truck to an area reported to be hiding a group of wild boars.
Yes.
Upon arrival, the team swiftly took their pre-planned positions, fully prepared, waiting for their prey to emerge. After a tense wait, Lucky spotted the silhouette of a wild boar on the opposite hillside. The moment its form broke through the tree cover, Lucky fired. A rapid succession of gunshots echoed, finally halting its charge. Leaving the boar no chance to wreak further havoc on the land. On the eastern slope of the hill, after a period of observation, a dark figure weaving through the bushes came into clear view through Nick's binoculars. His rifle was ready, and he precisely tracked the wild boar's movement. With a single shot, the beast collapsed on the spot. Its escape route was completely cut off, restoring peace to the land. At the same moment, another hunting team was tracking the wild beasts in a dense forest. Upon arriving, they quickly took up blocking positions, surrounding the forest with a resolve to prevent any boar from charging down to devastate the crops. Deep in the woods, John spotted a herd of wild boars hiding in the thick underbrush ahead. A gunshot rang out, sending the herd into a panicked stampede. Unexpectedly, a few chose the wrong direction, charging straight into John's line of sight. Without hesitation, a bullet struck the second boar, dropping it instantly. The others managed to vanish into the deep forest, leaving John no further chance to pull the trigger. Outside, the other team members also spotted the herd of frantic beasts charging out from the forest. The marksmen instantly took their positions, ready for the targets to emerge.
Yapıştır. Çok iyi. Tamam.
As soon as the boars appeared, a volley of gunshots rang out. But they moved too fast, leaving only one carcass behind in the underbrush. The radio crackled, relaying the escape routes of the wild boars to the remaining hunters. the eastern edge of the forest, a boar charged straight through the blockade position of one of the team's marksmen. Its body fully exposed in a clearing, a sharp gunshot rang out decisively. The boar collapsed instantly, with no chance to flee. Almost simultaneously, other gunshots echoed through the forest, signaling that the remaining boars had been dealt with. The hunt concluded successfully, restoring peace to the land.
Germany's fields are struggling against the ferocious devastation caused by wild boars. They tear through furrows of soil, destroying crops and leaving millions of dollars in damages. Hunters are ready to step into the battle against these destructive invaders. Each cold, calculated shot and every heart-pounding moment of confrontation feels like a real battlefield, keeping you glued to the screen. Will the hunters have the grit to take down these marauders? Watch until the end to pick out the most thrilling moment. Today's journey began with a tightly coordinated ambush, leaving no chance for any wild boar to escape. In the fields of Brandenburg, Kevin's team arrived early, spreading out to cover all directions. Not long after, at the edge of the vegetable field, a wild boar suddenly charged out, cutting across Nick's position. Without hesitation, Nick pulled the trigger. A burst of gunfire rang out decisively, taking down the prey before it could slip away. A swift and precise move, truly befitting the team's top shooter, striking fear into the wild boars. The sun was high in the sky, and Kevin's team swiftly moved to the neighboring field. The entire team quickly took their pre-assigned ambush positions. Just 10 minutes later, in the eastern direction, Jay spotted a group of wild boars beginning to ravage the area. He immediately locked onto the largest, fattest boar in the group. A decisive gunshot rang out, and the target collapsed on the spot. But before Jay could reload for another shot, the remaining boars managed to slip into nearby bushes, disappearing in an instant. As soon as the group of boars disappeared, Jay immediately reported their direction of movement over the radio. Using tracking signals, the team quickly narrowed down the suspicious area. At that very moment, near Kevin's ambush position, a wild boar burst out of the bushes, frantically trying to escape. With a single, clean, and precise shot, the massive beast was brought down. Another target eliminated, another victory notched. The field was officially restored to peace, at least for today. At the same moment, in the fields of Lower Saxony, another hunting team was stealthily tracking the destructive pests concealed within the towering grass. James held his post at the edge of a thick patch of grass, right next to the cornfield. Suddenly, a wild boar emerged, slinking toward the corn rows, ready to unleash destruction. Seizing the moment as it stepped out from the grass cover, James instantly pulled the trigger. A single, accurate shot rang out, eliminating the threat. Had he hesitated for even a split second, the cornfield might have been ravaged by the beast's claws. A few minutes later, the sudden barking of hunting dogs echoed from the trail, a clear signal that a target had appeared. James and his team immediately rushed forward, quickly pinpointing the source of the sound. They swiftly took their positions, eyes locked on the bushes ahead. Then, as a dark shadow emerged, gunfire rang out decisively. The wild boar collapsed onto the cold ground, unable to take another step. Another disaster was stopped in its tracks before it could wreak havoc on this field. Wild boar meat has long been the key ingredient in Daube Sanglier, the renowned red wine stew from Provence and Corsica, France. To secure the freshest, most flavorful meat, there's nothing better than hunting it yourself in the wild. That's why we set off into the vast, untamed forest, where dramatic confrontations with wild boars awaited us. The forest morning was cloaked in a thin layer of mist. We moved deeper into the ancient woods, quietly spreading out to maintain visibility and provide support when needed. As soon as the dogs were released, they sprang into action, barking loudly the moment they picked up a scent. We rushed toward the sound of their agitated barks. There it was. Take the shot. A loud crack echoed through the forest. The boar was hit and dropped immediately onto the leaf-strewn ground. But before we could even celebrate, another group of wild boars came charging out. We kept firing, our rifles roaring through the trees. In less than 3 minutes, we had harvested more game than we ever imagined. Just as we caught our breath, a rustling sound came from the bushes ahead. "Wait, did you hear that?" I whispered, tightening my grip on the rifle. We froze, eyes locked on the dense foliage. Suddenly, another boar burst out. I raised my gun and squeezed the trigger. The bullet zipped through the air and struck it clean. The animal crumpled on the spot. Each step across the dead branches crunched beneath our feet, as if the forest itself was quietly watching us. Suddenly, a sound came from across the trail. "I see it," I whispered, signaling to the team. I dropped into position and carefully aimed for a vital shot. Bam! The gunfire shattered the silence. The boar jolted, then collapsed. Once again, calm nerves and sharp skills helped us win in the harsh wilderness. But I knew tougher trials still lay ahead. It was already past noon. We took a quick break before continuing the hunt. Out here, we could never afford to let our guard down. Thankfully, our pack of hunting dogs was always alert. The dogs picked up a scent and quickly flushed a boar from deep in the forest, pushing it toward our position. The boars had nowhere left to run. They were forced to surrender to the cold, powerful muzzle of the dogs. We no longer moved in large groups, but split up, each man in a lookout post. Then, out of the dense canopy, I locked my gaze on it, finger resting on the trigger. But out of nowhere, another herd of wild boars exploded from the bushes like a sudden storm. Now, acted on instinct, firing immediately. After a quick burst of gunfire, one of the boars lay dead. As I returned to the rendezvous point, Chris was still engaged in a tense standoff with the boars that had just charged. Hunting wild boars for meat not only provides a natural source of protein, but also helps control their population and prevent damage to crops. That said, we always adhere strictly to conservation principles and local hunting laws. These are the rules we live by on every hunt.